Hello, everyone, and welcome to the UCL Round of 16 review. Now, I usually try to run the fair play, look at it evenly neutral gimmick, but I want to speak about some teams and truly say what I think in this video and probably just from now on in general. So let's just get right into it. Let's take a look at what has happened in this round of the knockout stage. So let's start with Arsenal versus PSV. Of course, this was a 9-3 aggregate win for Arsenal across both legs. And listen, I didn't really give PSV too much of a chance to go through in this tie. I mean, Arsenal, even if they don't have the attacking threat of the top teams, they still are very strong defensively and have a strong midfield, and that's something that could get you through these games in the UCL, especially against teams like PSV. To be honest, the scoreline doesn't reflect what I feel about Arsenal across in this tie and just in this season in general. I mean, Arsenal won 7-1 last game in the first leg, but they had like a similar XG to PSV, so they created a similar amount of chances or similar, expected goals to PSV, but they scored 6 more. So clearly that was Arsenal's day. Yesterday, of course, Arsenal rotated and they just got some players some rest because, I mean, they had a 6-goal advantage and then they played at home against PSV. So they got the job done. I'm expecting Arsenal to be better, against Madrid when hopefully they have Saka back. Hopefully they have most of these players that have been out back. They had Havertz out as well. So I think Saka and Havertz, if they get those two back at least, they can fare much better against Madrid and just play some better football. But overall, I mean, we look at the stats, like once again, it wasn't like special from Arsenal. They got the job done and they managed to score so many goals in the tie. Let's take a look at the first leg actually real quick here. If I could go on it. There we go. So we take a look at the stats. I mean, it's 1.91 XG, 1.38 XG for PSV, and there's a 6-goal difference. So clearly that was just Arsenal's day. Everything was going in, and they managed to get the job done. I see him making a semifinal. I see him getting past Madrid. I don't think they will though, but that's going to be part of the match preview. So for that next round. So nothing much to say here. I mean, it's just Arsenal getting the job done against a team that's just not the greatest. Next, we'll take a look at Atleti versus Real Madrid, and this is the part of the video where I'm specifically talking about not being neutral. And I know people are going to say, if people comment on this, oh, you're a Barca fan, of course you think that. But I don't think that for no reason. I don't think what I think for no reason, at least. So let's take a look at the Madrid versus Atletico Madrid game and what I think about it. So here we go. The stats of this game were Atleti with 0.68 XG, and wait, was this the first game or? Oh, yeah, this was the first game. Let's go to this next game. Where is this? So the stats for this game were Atleti with 1.36 XG and Real Madrid with 1.15. So it was a pretty even game, but overall I felt Atletico Madrid played better. Real Madrid didn't have any plan, let alone tactics. He didn't even have a plan attacking wise. It would just be whoever receives the ball, just go up and try to score. There wasn't an actual game plan. There wasn't, well-oriented movement up top. Players were not supporting each other. And to be honest, all of Vinny, Mbappe, Rodrigo, Bellingham, they all performed very poor, especially Vinny, especially Mbappe, who at least won a penalty, and Bellingham only managed to get into the game in extra time once everybody else was tired, and of course his physicality and stamina managed to get him, through the extra time at a higher level. But my entire point of this game is that, of course, whatever happened in the penalty shootout happened, but I don't understand in the UCL. People call it aura, people call it mentality, because the entire point of mentality is you go into a competition and you play well, you perform well. Madrid don't perform well. We take a look at all their games against Bayern. I'm talking about even their 3P era. 2016, 17, 18, 2022, 2024, even years where they haven't won the UCL, but they got by games where they shouldn't have. We talk about the games versus Man City all 3 years. We talk about the games versus Bayern last year or in 2017 or in 2018. there are so many big UCL games where Madrid just does not impress. They're not the team that dominates the game. They're not the team that looks like the team that's going to go through, but no matter what, they go through. And I'm not going to attribute that to mentality. I'm not going to attribute it to monsters of the competition, because they didn't play well. They didn't perform well. I watched that game yesterday, and those games against Man City the past few years, and the games against Bayern, and the games against whoever they've played that they didn't deserve to win against. I've watched these games, and at least 80% of them, Madrid have not deserved to go through. I mean, I don't know what it is. Listen, they have things fall in their favor in this competition, whether teams fail to score because Courtois saves everything that goes at him, whether the ball bounces in their favor, like whether the opposing team hits a post 1,000 times like Man City haven't in the past. I mean, things go in their favor. Of course we have the extra forces that people talk about, the Satanism, all that stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if that was true, but realistically, they just get through games that they don't deserve to get through. And the fact that people talk about that penalty shootout yesterday with Alvarez slipping and everything, okay, fair enough. Maybe if the ball did hit Alvarez's foot twice, which if it did, it wasn't anything that changed the trajectory of the ball. It didn't provide a crazy advantage or even any advantage. But the fact that even happened, so a player slips like that and the ball touches his foot by literally the smallest nanometer you could ever think of. The fact that even happened in favor of Madrid is the things that they get in this competition. Like, they get these types of advantages, some kind of fortune brews up for them, and it manages to happen for them. And it's always it always happens when they're performing the worst. I mean, Mbappe with a dead game, Vinny with a shocking game, Bellingham was just, he was just there until extra time. Rodrigo, of course, nothing special. It was just a carry job from the defense, Valverde especially, and as per Courtois. But I guess they made it through. They play Arsenal next. Let's see if any team can stop them. Let's see if Madrid can actually win the game through merit by dominating the game or just playing better, or fair and square, just a clean game. Can they win it? Let's see if it happens. At this point, I have no faith in any team beating Real Madrid, like anywhere in any game except Barcelona. I mean, every team just manages to twerk for them. They can spend so much money on all these players, still not perform well, and they will still win games that they don't deserve to win. I only believe in Barca to beat them in general, and historically they've proven that they're not the team that twerks for them every single time. But it is what it is with Real Madrid. This is typical, and I think the fact that Premier League fans on the internet now are finally clocking their angle. They're finally seeing, wow, it's not really about mentality. These guys just get really fortunate. The fact that even Premier League fans have seen it, I mean, it's become pretty self-explanatory. Next. Also, by the way, in that game, I feel really bad for Alvarez, not because of what happened just in the penalty. I mean, he was best player in both across the tie. I mean, everywhere, so much work rate, so good at creating stuff, so good in the build up, so good at in the box trying to get past players. He was just everywhere, and you have to feel bad for him that he has to fall suspect to the Satanism. Next, we've got let's do Liverpool versus PSG. Now, this is another game that I want to really talk about. Liverpool have disappointed me with this, not just losing, but their performance overall. They've disappointed me because they've been the most consistent team this season. They haven't been the best performing team this season, but they've been the most consistent in terms of they've been at a certain level consistently throughout the whole season. They haven't had the best peak performance-wise. The best peak has been Barcelona, of course, because they've dominated games to another level. The best peak has been Barcelona, but the most consistent, not having any drop-offs or anything, continuously winning games has been Liverpool. And the fact that they performed this poorly, I mean, it's just a shame. Of course, Alisson, Van Dijk, Konate, Trent in the second leg, they did very well and in the first leg, of course, as well, but I'm talking about the second leg here. They did it very well to keep Liverpool in this tie, but midfield-wise and attacking-wise, Liverpool was just disappointing. I mean, I mean, they had no control in the midfield in the first leg. I mean, the first leg they didn't even touch the ball. Like literally, PSG was all the way up here. Like they were up here, and and Liverpool was in their own box for 85 minutes of the game. Um, Salah across both legs. I mean, he was decent at the start of the first leg. I mean, of the second leg, but shocking. Diaz, nothing special. Jota, shocking. So Bosley didn't really do much. Gavin Birch, I expected a lot more from him. He has been very good this season. I thought he's gonna be one of the guys that gets Liverpool out of pressure by driving the ball up, which is one of his strengths. Couldn't do it. McAllister was decent, but nothing special. I mean, it was just disappointing from Liverpool. I expected way more from them. And at least if they were gonna go out, at least perform well and go out, unfortunately at least. But no, PSG's midfield proved to be way more dominant. Of course, their attackers were more dynamic, more versatile, more devastating. And of course, Liverpool, look, on paper, Liverpool don't have a great team. They just proved to be very good, in not winning games. Jota, Szoboszlai, Nunez. I mean, it was just nothing crazy. I actually thought if they had Gakpo without an injury, from the first leg and so on, Liverpool might have actually won this game. And I actually had Liverpool going through by like a one goal margin, but ended up going to penalties. And Donnarumma proved to be the goalkeeper for penalties. Alisson did very good across both legs in game, but in penalties, he just hasn't proven himself. Historically, he just hasn't been good at penalty saving. I like Nuno Mendes. He's been one of my favorite players. Of course, when Messi and Neymar were at PSG, I was watching PSG for them. Nuno Mendes has been one of my favorite players, one of my favorite fullbacks in the world since then. I mean, he's a monster. I mean, 10 out of 14 ground duels won, 7 clearances, 5 tackles, 4 interceptions. I mean, he's a beast defensively this season, of course, and going forward. Hakimi was actually disappointing for me in that second leg. I mean, he was feeling the pressure of Liverpool, and he just didn't do too well, in my opinion. William Pacho, he's a beast. He's a beast as well. I mean, 8 clearances, and he was strong across both legs. And just PSG's defense in general did very well. The midfield circulated the ball well. They didn't allow Liverpool to dominate too much, especially in that first leg, of course. But overall, PSG just proved to be the more devastating team. And of course, it's a shame that more goals weren't scored in this tie. But I guess that's the UCL. I guess that's how it goes sometimes. Listen, PSG's impressed me. They're one of the teams that don't want to win the competition because I just don't like PSG as a club. But I think at this point, it's come down to Barcelona or Bayern to make sure none of PSG or Real Madrid win this tournament, or Arsenal, to be honest, because their fan base is annoying. But yeah, this is what I think about this game. Listen, Salah disappointed me. The Liverpool in general disappointed me, except for I like the way Trent played in the second leg. McAllister didn't disappoint me, but he was nothing special. Van Dijk was good, Alisson was good, but mostly in general, Liverpool disappointed me. It's a shame that they got out so early, but I guess they deserved it. At least this game was a deserved loss. Next up, we're gonna take a look at Aston Villa versus Club Brugge. Now, this is more of a whatever game, I expected Villa to go through here on like a 2 or 3 goal advantage overall across both legs, and it was actually a 5-goal advantage. Listen, Club Brugge had a chance to maybe have a chance to go through in this tie if they didn't soil it at home, but they lost 3-1 at home. They go into the second leg and they got an early red card over here with Sabe, and they since that happened, they just really had no chance. Aston Villa with Unai Emery have proven to be a good tournament team. Of course, Unai Emery is a good tournament manager. Rashford has proven to be good with them. Madson's been doing well. Tielemans has been immense for them. They have a strong defense. Morgan Rogers is doing great. And of course, off the bench, and hopefully if he starts more games, Asensio, I mean, he's looked like it's unbelievable since he gone to the Prem. I'm not sure where he refound himself, but he's been great. I really don't give him too much of a chance against PSG, but it could definitely happen. I think Aston Villa in a UCL semifinal in 2025 would definitely be interesting, to say the least. But you never know what could happen. But that's just another video to talk about. The preview of the next round, that's going to be another video. Listen, nothing much to say here. I mean, Aston Villa got the job done. They're the Premier League team. They're the team that has just the better team on paper, the better manager. They're just a better team. They got the job done, and that was it for them. They gone through. Let's go to the next side of the bracket now. Let's talk about Barcelona versus Benfica. Now, I was I was I was slightly scared for Barcelona in the second leg because not because I think Barcelona's bad currently and they're not at the level they need to be, but because of their historic failures across the last 10 years in the UCL. But they proved me wrong. So Rafinha with an early goal, an unbelievable Yamal assist in the first 11 minutes. Otamendi equalizes within mere seconds after a corner, and then after that, it was just pure Barcelona. I mean, I think the game Barca showed in the first leg, where they managed to win the game with having a red card in the 20th minute, has proven that this is a changed Barcelona. They have a new mentality. They're different beasts now, and the reason why I've supported this club, why I love this club, is because they will not accept winning a trophy or a game. Well, not a game, because it can happen sometimes, but a trophy, by playing anti-football, by playing park the bus, by not deserving the game. Like I said before, like Real Madrid has. Barcelona has never been a team that's gonna try to win these trophies by playing pure defense. They're gonna generate so many chances. They're gonna want to have the more possession, and they're gonna want to just dominate teams. And that's how I think the sport should be played. And they've proven to be, immense this season. I have them as a favorite for the UCL, finally, for the first time in 10 years. Listen, Balde, Rafinha, Yamal, Olmo, Pedri, De Jong, Koundé, they all did very well. Araujo and Inigo did very well, of course. I mean, they're just the favorites for me. They're too devastating, and they've shown it. I hope they can not spoil it against Borussia Dortmund, but we'll talk about that later on as well. I want to see more of Dani Olmo, not because I'm saying he played bad, but I want to see more of him because I like watching him. He's so good. But overall, 4-1 on aggregate. Barcelona dominate once again this season, and that's what we want to see from them when they play. Next, Lille vs Dortmund. I actually had Lille going through here after the first leg because I thought that, if Dortmund are at home in the first leg, at the Signal Iduna Park, where it's one of the stadiums with the biggest home field advantage in Europe, I thought they're going to capitalize on that, but no, they ended up tying 1-1. And I thought at that point, all right, this is Lille's to lose in the second leg. And if you take a look at the game over here, they got dominated. Dortmund showed up, they got dominated, Lille, and it was just GG for them. GG. Guirassy with a good performance. I mean, the defense of Dortmund has woken up. It's going to be a more difficult game for Barcelona coming up rather than it was in the group stage like they played against earlier this season. Schlotterbeck very strong, Rierson, Emre Can very strong, Adeyemi with a good performance, Brandt of course, putting in a shift in the midfield, and Guirassy as their main man. But listen, Chevalier is one player that you should take a look at Lille at and give him his props. Great goalkeeper. Benjamin Andre as well. Alexandre Ribeiro was monstrous for them. They have a good squad, and they just bowed out early. I mean, they're not the team that's going to make it far in this tournament. Borussia Dortmund have the pedigree here, and they proved that yesterday. So yeah, they got the job done, 3-2 on aggregate, and I'm expecting Barca to go through against Dortmund, but you never know what could happen. Hopefully that's the case, though. Listen, Guirassy has been a monster for them. The fact that he has been this good in the UCL this season and in the Bundesliga this season, because Dortmund's like 11th or something, and Guirassy is still the one of the few players that's consistently performing or at least scoring the goals. And the fact that he sold this past summer for what was it, 20 million? Complete bargain, and it was crazy how nobody else was on him. I mean, it was just Dortmund that just swept him up, and it was easy for them. But yeah, Dortmund's through here. Just it wasn't too much of a great tie to watch overall, but they got the job done. So next we've got another interesting game: Bayern Munich versus Leverkusen. Now, I had Leverkusen as a favorite for this tie because of how they played this season, but I was completely wrong apparently. 5-0 on aggregate, I'm pretty sure it was. We actually go to I went to the wrong game. 5-0 on aggregate it was, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, 5-0. And it was just disappointing from Xabi Alonso's men. I mean, I guess he showed some naivety in this game. I mean, I guess Bayern showed their European pedigree. Uh, they just played better, Bayern. I mean, Kane was immense. Davies was very good across both legs. It's nice to see him back in the starting lineup. I think he was injured for a bit. The defensive Bayern, Kim Min-jae, Upamecano, very strong. I guess Goretzka's a starter again. Him with Kimmich are doing well once again, like it's like 2020. I guess Goretzka's gotten his form back. Musiala, I love this player, just a beast player overall. And Bayern, if they've flipped a switch here, if they've gotten the momentum they've needed for the UCL, they're gonna have a serious run now to at least the semifinal. I think they can get past Inter, although they're not the complete favorite. I still think they have a very good chance to get through them, even though they were looking very poor before this Leverkusen tie. Leverkusen was just disappointing to lose 5-0. I mean, they were just no pressure on Bayern. I thought Leverkusen dominated Bayern in the Bundesliga this season when they played against each other, but this was just poor. I mean, they just didn't show up. I don't know what to say about it. Like, they were just very bad from them. I thought they'll do better, at least keep it a close game, but 3-0 and 2-0. It's crazy. Harry Kane proving to be the main man, of course. Listen, one of the best strikers in the world right now, and he has been for a long time, and he proved it against Leverkusen. Nothing much more to say here. I think Bayern go through on Inter, and I see a Bayern versus Barca semifinal again, like in 2015. Let's see what happens though. So Bayern through here, and that was that for them. Finally, we've got Inter versus Feyenoord. Now, this was one of the more self-explanatory ties. I mean, it was just Inter's to lose, to be honest. Listen, I don't know how AC Milan lost to Feyenoord. I know it was a shame. I wanted Milan to go through because I like AC Milan's team. I like Rafael Leao. I like Teo Hernandez. I like Pulisic, but they threw it. Inter capitalized though, and with a 4-1 win on aggregate, they showed that they're a very well structured team compared to AC Milan at least. Of course, Taremi and Thuram, and I'm gonna assume Lautaro as well. Yeah, they played overall across both legs. They did very well. They're the main hold up strikers for Inter, and their midfield is very strong. I mean, Mkhitaryan, Calhanoglu, they had Fratesi playing, even though they're gonna have Barella coming back. I'm pretty sure was Barella playing, so I don't think he was actually available for this game. But yeah, either way, he was in the bench, so he didn't get subbed in at all. But yeah, once Barella comes in for Fratesi, Mkhitaryan, Calhanoglu, Barella, it's a strong midfield. Once DiMarco comes back, I mean, Dumfries, DiMarco on the counterattack, very strong attacking fullbacks. I mean, they're just a very good, well-oiled team. The defense with Pavard, Bisek, and Acerbi is strong. Bastoni, of course, when he's going to start, is going to be even stronger. And it's going to be a monster matchup against Bayern for them. It's going to be a replay of the 2010 UCL final, I'm pretty sure. And it's going to be a great game to watch. Hopefully, Inter play a bit more, with intent to play football rather than just playing defense the whole game. But it is what it is. Now, it was always going to happen. Inter go through here. And it's better for the overall neutral watchers that they did go through, because watching Bayern against Feyenoord would not be, the dopamine boost we need as football enjoyers. But overall, let's take a look at the next matchups over here. So we're gonna have on the left side of the bracket Arsenal, Real Madrid, PSG, Aston Villa. I expect a Real Madrid PSG semifinal, although I see Arsenal having a chance here, and I see on the other side of Barca Bayern final, although I see Inter having a chance there, of course, over Bayern, and of course Dortmund can cause an upset, even though hopefully it doesn't happen, and I realistically don't see it happening. But we'll talk more about the quarterfinal in the next preview video. Let me know what you guys think. It was fun. I mean, this is the UCL that we all love to watch, I guess. This is it. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next video.